College football in itself is full of many surprises. There are always players who come out of nowhere to win the Heisman, or teams that come out of nowhere and win the championship. Sometimes, you even have schools outside of the Power 5 that make a name for themselves and become one of the bigger stories around the nation. And all the way back in the 2000s, one of those teams happened to be Utah. After winning 2 BCS Bowls and earning the title of BCS Crashers, Utah moved into the Pac-12, and over the past 2 seasons, they have been one of the better teams in the conference and have come close to making it to a New Year's Six Bowl. But how did they get to this point? In today's video, we'll be looking at the rise of Utah football. Now, the rise of Utah football begins all the way back in 1990, where the program hired Ron McBride to be its new head coach. While Ron wouldn't have the biggest success on paper, he was very important for the program's rise. McBride took over a program that only had 5 winning seasons in the previous 16 years, but he turned them around fast. In his first 7 seasons alone, Utah made it to the postseason 4 times and only finished with 1 losing record. The 1994 season was perhaps the most successful Utah campaign to date, as they went 10-2 with a number 8 finish in the AP poll and a bowl victory in the Freedom Bowl. McBride would be the head coach from 1990 all the way up until 2002, overseeing the program's transition from the WAC to the Mountain West Conference and guiding them to 3 bowl victories, a share of the WAC title, and 9 winning seasons. After McBride came Bowling Green's Urban Meyer. While Meyer was only there for 2 seasons, he made his impact and helped put Utah up higher in national stature. In 2003, Utah went 10-2 with a bowl victory and another top 10 finish, and then followed that up in 2004 with a 12-0 finish, a Fiesta Bowl victory over Pittsburgh, and a number 4 finish in the AP poll. Now, after winning 22 games in just 2 seasons, Meyer gained a ton of national recognition and was later hired as the Florida head coach. So to replace Meyer and his success, Utah went with longtime defensive coordinator Kyle Whittingham. Whittingham had been the defensive coordinator since 1994 when McBride was coaching, and replaced his father as the defensive coordinator. He didn't waste any time either making his impact known, as in his first 3 seasons as head coach, Utah improved on their win total in each season, going from 7 wins in 2005 to 8 in 2006 and 9 wins in 2007. All of those 3 seasons ended in bowl victories, giving them 5 consecutive seasons ending with bowl victories. But 2008 is where things really took off, and Utah, with the stellar play of quarterback Brian Johnson, went 13-0 with a Sugar Bowl victory over Alabama and a number 2 finish in the AP poll. During the season, Utah defeated 4 teams that were ranked in the AP's final poll: number 6 Alabama, number 7 TCU, number 18 Oregon State, and number 25 BYU. The hype surrounding the university at this time was real, and with the university on an 8 bowl win streak, this was the most successful they've ever been. In 2009 and 2010, Utah finished both seasons with 10 wins, winning their bowl game in 2009, but losing in 2010 to end their bowl win streak at 9. They were 2 wins shy of the all-time record for longest bowl winning streak in college football history. But still, they finished ranked in both of those seasons, capping off the best 3-year span in program history with 33 total wins and 3 top 25 finishes. 2010 would be the program's last season in the Mountain West, as they, along with Colorado, would make the jump to the Pac-10 to form the Pac-12. Utah's transition to the Pac-12 wasn't a smooth one, as although they went 8-5 in 2011, they suffered losing seasons in 2012 and 2013. But from 2014 to 2017, Utah got back on track to winning ways. They ended all 4 of those seasons with winning records and bowl victories. In 3 of those seasons, they finished ranked in the top 25, and in 2015, they were even co-champions of the Pac-12 South, as they finished that season with 10 wins, which was their best finish in that span. They even ranked as high as number 3 in the nation in 2015, before a loss to USC in the middle of the season prevented them from climbing higher. But it's been the last 2 seasons for the program that have definitely seen the jump that many were expecting Utah to make, as in both 2018 and 2019, Utah won the Pac-12 South. Now, unfortunately for them, they lost the championship game in both seasons, but this past 2019 was very interesting, as they were a contender for the college football playoff up until the final few weeks of the season. A loss to Oregon in the title game ultimately ruined those chances, but the program did win 11 games in 2019, which was their highest total to date. So here we are in present day 2020, and Utah football has been a program on the rise for a long time. From the Western Athletic Conference to the Mountain West and now the Pac-12, this ascension has been a long one coming. But how did the program really get to this point? Let's look at some of the biggest reasons why. I think that the first reason for the rise is, of course, head coach Kyle Whittingham, or even the coaching in general. It's very important to note, however, that Utah football wouldn't be where it is today without the help of Ron McBride to transition them to a winning team, or even with the work of Urban Meyer in 2 seasons and bringing more attention to the university's football team. But Whittingham has been a part of the program since 1994 as the defensive line coach, and he has stayed loyal even though there were opportunities to jump elsewhere. He has been with this team through everything, and he will likely be the guy to take them even further. Looking at his tenure on paper, it is just impressive. Whittingham has been the head coach of 11 bowl victories, including the 2004 Fiesta Bowl victory, and has had 5 seasons with at least 10 victories. If you want to count the seasons he's been on the staff period, then that number rises to 15 bowl victories and 8 seasons with 10 or more victories. To put context around those already impressive numbers, Utah football has won 17 bowl games in their entire history and only has 8 seasons with 10 victories. He's been the perfect guy for the job, and his internal hire was key for this program's transition. Whittingham has established a tough team with the mentality to work hard and win games, and that has been his focus since day one. The fact that the program has been able to have as much continuity as it has had with Kyle has been so key for their rise. It's also important to note the improvement in player development that the school has seen over the past decade as well. Now, of course, the school has had some talented players in the past before 2010, such as quarterback Alex Smith, but in terms of getting players to the next level, Utah has never been better than it is now. Since the 2013 NFL draft, they have seen a total of 30 players drafted, their most ever in any 8-year time span, and are seeing more players sent each year. Looking even further to the on-the-field production, the defense has been the strong point of this team. Now, Utah has fielded some pretty good offenses in the past, but you can count on their defense for being the anchor of the team. It's where they produce the majority of their professional talent and where they rank among the best in the nation. Since Whittingham has taken over as the head coach, Utah has ranked in the top 25 in terms of defensive scoring on 7 different occasions, including the last 2 seasons where they finished at 17th and 6th respectively. Now, looking at their conference realignment, I think it's also something else that we can pinpoint for their rise. While moving conferences can be tough for some teams and is definitely an adjustment to make, Utah has made it past that point of struggling. Of course, Utah had their own struggles as they only made 1 bowl game in their first 3 seasons in the Pac-12, but since then they have been okay. While they may take a step back next season with a younger team, they are still in great shape. I think that joining the Pac-12 was key for recruiting, exposure, and competition, and the evidence is all there. They have seen their recruiting class rankings jump every single year, and for the first time since 24/7 Sports started class rankings, they had their first top 30 recruiting class nationally. They also built a multi-million-dollar facility over the past decade and signed a long-term deal with Under Armour to make their jerseys. But the best thing that comes from joining the conference has to be the competition level. Now, they are playing 9 to 10 Power 5 schools a year at least, and winning 10 games in the Pac-12 is much more impressive to others than the Mountain West or Western Athletic Conference. And comparatively speaking, they have performed well against the rest of the conference since joining. The start was of course a rough one, but they are now without a doubt a contender in the Pac-12 South and have been one of the better teams in not only the division, but in the conference as well. Since 2015, they rank 5th in the conference in terms of conference victories and 2nd in the Pac-12 South. Also, Utah currently leads the conference with appearances in the college football playoffs top 25 with almost 30 appearances. The only teams in the entire nation with more appearances are Alabama, Clemson, LSU, Oklahoma, and Ohio State. And this is all while finally getting their first ever top 30 recruiting class just this season. Showing the nation that they can compete in a Power 5 conference has been huge for the university and its growth, but the area where it's felt most has to be recruiting. It is noted that the program always extends their interest to recruits early, but in the past they often lost out to bigger programs because they just didn't have the exposure or competition that those programs had. But now, as they've won the Pac-12 South 2 years in a row with multiple 10-win seasons and slowly becoming a place for future NFL prospects, Utah is much more attractive than it was 10 years ago. And I think we can expect more top 30 finishes and even some top 20 finishes in the future. And also, currently Utah has a 9-game win streak over rival BYU, which helps with the in-state battle for recruits as well. Sorry BYU fans. Now, while Utah football has yet to win a Pac-12 championship or make it back to the BCS or New Year's Six Bowl over the past decade, the program's place among college football has been cemented. From BCS Crashers to a consistent top 5 program, Utah football is here to stay. And while they might take a step back next season with a younger team, we are entering into a new era of Utah football. But, as always, only time will tell if and when Utah can win the Pac-12 and go even further. This has been a video on the rise of Utah football. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you're new, and as always, I will see you guys next time.